Hello and welcome to Express Mobility. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Satish Sharma, President, Apollo Tyres. Today he will be talking about the growth trends and what are the factors that are impacting tire industry. Welcome to the show, sir. So first of all, I would like to understand your latest entry into the EV tires. Would you like to tell us about the difference between what is like difference between the EV tires and the normal regular tires?
Yeah, that's a good question, Dipanshu. So there's a world of a difference. I mean, the common person would not perhaps know that, and let's try to address this question. So, firstly, the first and foremost point is around the noise levels. So, what has happened is there's a lot of moving parts in an IC vehicle have been removed or eliminated. And that makes the tire noise a very prominent one, which in an IC vehicle was suppressed or not very prominent. So both the in-cabin noise as well as the passerby noise it becomes very prominent, and therefore you need more silent tires. So that's one aspect of. The second aspect that the EV vehicle, especially in this phase, are seeking is to extend the life of the battery. And you want the car to travel more, which means that you have to reduce the frictional forces to the vehicle, and tires does contribute a part to those forces. So they want to design such a tire that has a lower, what is called as a rolling resistance, much more than what you need for a IC vehicle. So that's the second major thing, and tire industry has been tasked to support this cause. The third is that the initial torque of an electric vehicle, when you start and you take off a EV vehicle, you can feel the energy, so that initial torque is very. So you need to again design a product which is able to take in this aspect of the vehicle technology. Finally, I would say that the battery pack sometimes is very heavy, and you need a certain amount of robustness in the product more than what is needed in the current version of the products. So you need to bring all these together, and then there could be further customization around grip, wet grip, dry grip, and so on and so forth, which you bring in all together to design a product which is customized to what EVs are seeking. So that's what we are trying to attempt to do with what we are launching or what we wanted to do.
So we would like to also understand, Apollo Tyres is entering into the passenger vehicles in the two-wheelers in the EV segment particularly. But when we see the market, electric two-wheelers are on the rise, but at the same time, electric three-wheelers are also, catching up the speed. So why not enter to a segment where it's a high volume segment, and what is the strategy behind, and how are you looking at things right now when it comes to the EV space?
Yeah, because see, Apollo, you can say, is mainly a technology play company, and and we see that even earlier before EV, our main focus is the passenger vehicles. Two-wheeler we have entered 6-7 years back, but even within two-wheelers we are more on the performance segment. So those are the main areas where we are focusing, and since we see that the action orientation on the EV space is increasing in both these two, we thought that it's the right timing for us to be able to demonstrate our technology play. So what we feel is that any time when the market gets disrupted on technology, that's the time Apollo should be there, because like I said, we are more on the position on technology and performance. So that's what we are attempting.
So is there a conscious decision to not to enter three-wheeler space right now, or how you're looking at things right now?
So we are not a very dominant player in the three-wheeler space. We are there, but we have a single-digit market share. So it's not that we'll not come there. We'll address every segment of the market, but our core demonstration of our technology is where it's needed, and then that's what we want to do, because In a three-wheeler, for example, the noise, let's take the noise aspect. I mean, I don't think they're looking at noise yet.
So if we talk about the overall EV ecosystem, and since that's one particular technology that everyone is talking about now, recently many of the tire makers have also ventured into this kind of EV specific tires. Uh, as a market leader, how do you see that the EV space growing, especially for the passenger vehicle market, since that's the one segment where you are heading.
So we see that there is a very heightened interest by every player. The government is also nudging the industry to fast track their progress to electric vehicles. While there are various forecasts of when the market will go electric in a big way, but I think month on month the action which is happening from established players is only increasing, and a lot of investment is coming into EV. So I think the changes are happening more dramatically than what the forecast suggests. That's my sense.
Uh, One more thing I would like to understand on the overall business side of the Apollo Tyres, could you give us the breakup, where Apollo Tyres is leading, like PVs and CVs, obviously, and two-wheelers you recently, like in few years back, you have entered. How do the overall business looks like, and what is the trend for this particular fiscal year for overall tire industry?
So on the radial technology, we are the market leaders in every segment of the market. We are market leaders in CV, we are market leaders in PV, we are market leaders in two-wheelers. So whatever is radial, which like I said, our demonstration of technology is what we are in, what is our, then we are the market leaders in exports out of India on all these categories. We are having the highest share of business in all OEMs across all three verticals as far as radials are concerned. So that's where we are, and we want to only widen the gap with our peer group in the Indian market. Indian market is well poised. It's coming out of COVID fast, and the demand is coming back wherever it was moderated, and we see that is a good thing for us. We have a good balance between all three customer channels of the replacement market, OE, and the exports.
I would like to give the breakup of uh,
In terms of breakup, we are exporting about close to 17-18% of our revenue, and OE and replacement differ category to category. So it's difficult to, unless we granulate it and talk about it. But yeah, so none of the channels is underrepresented. We are playing the full-on game in all three segments.
Right. While things look very rosy and very promising when we look at the demand side of things, what are the other challenges that tire industry is facing, particularly from the supply side, from the manufacturing side? Would like to highlight some of those to the viewers.
Yeah, the main challenge currently is the inflation and the price of crude. The price of crude is much of the raw material is crude derivative for us, and even natural rubber is at an all-time high. So the cost push is really huge, and the industry is not able to to pass that to the customer. There is always a phase lag between what the cost has gone and how much we can pass it to our customers, and we are also mindful of calibrating that journey. But that takes an impact on the bottom line and the margins. That's our biggest short-term, near-term challenge. On the demand side, things are, like I said, is improving. Of course, the recent monsoons, etc., takes its impact on a short-term basis because the mining areas and infrastructure work slows down. But coming months ahead, up till festivals and all, we see a lot of demand coming.
One thing I would like to understand further from you is about the commercial vehicle business, that it has also started picking up. How do you see that in this particular year? What are your projections?
So the commercial vehicle, as far as OE is concerned, is picked up. And we are at the beginning of the cycle. So we see a secular growth happening for the next 4 or 5 years. We are still lower than the peaks which were attained 7, 8 years back. And but I think we are in a good place now. The GDP for our country is going to be the highest amongst any economy in the world. There's a lot of infrastructure work which is happening in the country. A lot of capex by the government is behind infrastructure. Housing and real estate sector has come back in a big way. Private capex should also is increasing in many sectors and is likely to only go up from here. So we see CVs should do well in the next 3 to 5 year time horizon.
Great. I would like to come back to your entry to EV tires and all. What kind of R&D expense you have done? Have you installed a separate assembly line, or it is done on the same assembly line? How it is? What is the production line if we talk about?
So as far as manufacturing is concerned, manufacturing is the same. Is the same means that the equipment that you need is the same. The line that you need is the same. What changes is all internally. So you might need different compounds, different raw materials, different processing speeds because of different. We may need more precision. For some things, you may need things a bit different. Let's say if you on the noise technology or cancellation of noise, you might need slightly different equipment that you were not using before. But largely on a broader horizon, it is the same. In terms of R&D investment, the way we look at it is a larger strategy than just for the EV. So we, like said, we are a technology company, and once we made that decision, since the last decade, 2010 onwards, we have been increasing our R&D spends. We have front-loaded investments both in India and Europe to be able to bring cutting-edge technology tires to all three channels of the market. So EV is a very big project for us, but it's part of that overall umbrella.
Okay, so could you give us the breakup of the capex?
It's difficult to say, but what we could give you is our R&D spends as a percentage to revenue would be about 2%.
Okay, that's great. One last question on your expansion plans and investment plans for this particular year, if you would like to share.
Our expansion plan is we have already put a greenfield in Andhra Pradesh during COVID, in fact, and that ramp up is going up. So we have put capacity for the growth that we see in the Indian market, and therefore the plan is to increase our utilization of what we have. That's our current plan.
Okay, you also take care of the markets like Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. How's the scenario there, and where does the India stand in?
So it's a very interesting question. And so what we are seeing is that our demand for our truck bus radial tires is very huge. Right. Our equity is ahead. We have more than doubled in 1 year's time. We are the largest exporter of TBR now from India. And we see more demand for our products. And we are making all products which are not used in India. So we have customized our products completely to what the market needs in these markets. There is a very good response to our passenger vehicle range. And there's a lot of work on the premiumization and we are also retailing both our brands, Apollo as well as Predestine in these markets. Equally, there is a good demand for our off-highway tires. We see a lot of traction. So our response to these markets is a very strong one. And we see that the Apollo brand getting its acknowledgement very strongly. We are very, very, very hopeful of doing very well on these markets.
Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you.